I still remember the tone in her voice that morning. Flat, almost clinical. It wasn't the kind of voice you use when you're angry or sad. It was the voice you use when you've already made peace with disappointment. We were sitting at the kitchen table, 2 mugs of coffee going cold between us. The house felt too big, too quiet. She said, "I have no desire with you." Just like that. No build-up, no warning. 14 years of marriage condensed into 6 words. My first instinct wasn't anger. It was confusion. I asked her, "What do you mean?" She sighed like I was forcing her to explain something obvious. "I mean, I don't feel it anymore. The spark, the connection, the desire." The word desire hung in the air like smoke. I watched it fade between us, leaving only silence behind. Her name was Emily. We met in college, 2 kids who thought love was permanent if you just worked hard enough. And we did work hard. Jobs, bills, kids, family holidays, the whole thing. Somewhere in all of that, we forgot what it meant to look at each other and want. I tried to joke it off at first. Guess we're just an old married couple now. But she didn't even smile. That's when I realized she wasn't just describing a feeling. She was delivering a verdict. When she left the room, I sat there staring at the pattern on the coffee mug. Blue lines crossing each other like a maze with no exit. That's what our marriage had become. Something that looked designed but led nowhere. I went through the rest of the day on autopilot. Work emails, lunch, a few polite smiles to coworkers. But every quiet moment was filled with that sentence replaying in my head. "I have no desire with you. Not for me." With me, that distinction hit hard. She didn't just lose interest, she excluded me from her sense of intimacy altogether. That night I didn't sleep much. Around 2 a.m. I got up and sat on the couch in the dark. The house creaked. The clock ticked, and the distance between us felt louder than any argument we'd ever had. I thought about all the little efforts I'd made. Flowers on anniversaries, dinners I cooked, weekends I suggested just for us. Every time she'd say, "I'm tired," or maybe later. Later never came. By morning I realized I hadn't touched her, not really touched her, in nearly a year. We'd turned into polite roommates sharing a mortgage and a schedule. When she walked into the living room, her hair still damp from the shower, I asked her one last time, "Is there something I can fix?" She didn't even look at me. "This isn't something you fix, Ethan, it's something that fades. Something in me just snapped quietly." "Not a loud break?" "A clean one." I stood up, grabbed my jacket, and said, "Then I guess it's gone." She looked confused, maybe even scared for a second. But I didn't wait for her to reply. I left, no shouting, no slammed doors. Just silence and the sound of my footsteps fading down the driveway. I drove without knowing where I was going, past the diner where we had our first date, past the park where we used to take long walks on Sundays. Every place looked smaller, like it had lost its color. I ended up at a small cafe on the edge of town. I ordered black coffee and stared out the window at the rain. That's when I heard a voice behind me. "Ethan?" It was Lily, Emily's closest friend. She worked in the same office as Emily and had been part of our lives for years. She looked surprised to see me there, and when I didn't say much, she sat down across from me. "You look like you've seen a ghost," she said. I gave a short laugh. "Something like that." We sat there for a moment in silence before she asked, "Is everything okay with you too?" I didn't answer right away. Then I told her what Emily said. Every word, Lily's eyes widened. She didn't even blink for a second. Then she said quietly, "She actually said that?" Exactly like that. She shook her head slowly, then leaned back. "Ethan, you should know something." I looked up, waiting for her to continue. She hesitated, biting her lip like she was choosing between loyalty and honesty. Then she whispered, "Maybe you should sit down for this." I frowned. "I'm already sitting." Her voice trembled just slightly. "I didn't mean it that way. I meant, you might not want to hear what I'm about to tell you." I felt my chest tighten. "Just say it, Lily." She looked around like the walls might be listening. Then in a low voice she said, "Emily's been seeing someone." The words landed without sound. I didn't flinch, didn't react. I just stared at her, waiting for her to take it back. But she didn't. Lily's eyes softened. "I didn't want to tell you, but she talks about it at work. She thinks nobody's listening." I took a slow breath. "How long?" "A few months, maybe more," she said. "It's not serious, at least not the way she talks about it. But she's crossed that line." The rain outside turned heavier, blurring the view. It felt almost poetic, like the world was trying to hide the truth from me. Lily reached out, maybe to comfort me, but I pulled my hand back before she could. I didn't want pity. I just wanted air. I should have known, I said quietly. No desire with me because it's already been spent somewhere else. She didn't respond, and honestly, I didn't expect her to. For a few minutes, neither of us spoke. The cafe buzzed softly with small talk and clinking cups. It was surreal how normal the world stayed while mine quietly collapsed. Finally, Lily said, "You don't deserve this, Ethan. You've always been there for her." I nodded, staring into my coffee. Being there doesn't matter if they stop showing up. When I got up to leave, she touched my arm. "Please don't tell her I told you." I gave a small, humorless smile. "Don't worry. I'm done telling her anything." The drive home felt longer than usual. Every red light stretched into minutes, every turn sharper than I remembered. When I pulled into the driveway, her car was still there. For a second, I considered driving past, just vanishing like the end of a chapter. But something in me wanted closure, not escape. She was in the kitchen when I walked in, scrolling through her phone.
She didn't even look up.
"Back already?" she asked, like nothing had happened. I studied her for a moment, the calmness on her face, the casual tone. It amazed me how easily people can live in two worlds at once. I said, "Lily saw me at the cafe." That got her attention. She froze, her thumb hovering over the screen. "Oh?" she told me, I added. Her lips parted just slightly. "Told you what?" I gave her a long look. "That you've been seeing someone." The color drained from her face. She opened her mouth, closed it, then laughed weakly. "You're really going to believe gossip?" "It's not gossip if it fits the silence you left," I said. She tried again. "It's not what you think." "It never is," I replied. "But I'm done trying to understand what can't be fixed." I walked past her and into the bedroom, pulled out the old suitcase from the closet. It wasn't dramatic, no shouting, no smashing frames. Just quiet decisions. She followed me to the doorway. "You're overreacting." I folded a shirt and said, "No, I'm just finally reacting." When I zipped the bag, she stepped forward. "Where will you go?" "I don't know," I said honestly. "But at least I'll know who I am when I get there." For a second, she looked like she might cry, but she didn't. She just stood there, arms folded, eyes empty. It struck me that I'd once loved those eyes more than anything. Now they just looked like a locked door. I picked up the suitcase and walked toward the front door. As I opened it, I heard her say softly, "Ethan." I paused but didn't turn around. "I didn't mean for it to happen," she said. "I know," I said, "but you still let it." Then I stepped out into the rain. The weeks that followed felt strange, like I was relearning how to be a person. Mornings were quiet, but the quiet didn't hurt anymore. Evenings were peaceful instead of heavy. I started reading again, taking long drives with no destination. Sometimes I'd pass places we used to go, and instead of pain, I felt distance, like remembering a dream that wasn't mine anymore. Lily checked in once just to make sure I was okay. I told her I was. She said, "You sound lighter." I told her, "That's what happens when you stop carrying someone else's indifference." A few months later, Emily sent a message. "Hope you're doing okay." I read it once, then deleted it. Some things don't need replies. Sometimes late at night I think back to that morning at the table. The coffee mugs, the silence, the words she said. "I have no desire with you." Back then I thought it was the end of everything. Now I know it was the beginning of something else. Clarity, peace, and the quiet understanding that love without respect is just habit. She lost the desire. I found myself.